Starlings belong in the animal kingdom, the Chordata phylum, the Ave class, the Passerine order, and the Sternidae family, which contains all starlings. European starlings from the last video belong to the genus Sturnus. There are two main species within this genus. One is the European starling, and the other is the spotless starling. In this cladogram, we can see that all birds on this list evolved from a bird who had feathers. Birds who didn't evolve perching abilities became ducks. Birds who did evolve perching abilities devolved into the two separate birds. Birds that evolved thick beaks became sparrows, and birds that evolved thin beaks became birds like starlings. The two previously mentioned starlings have a couple of key differences between each other. European starlings are spotted, whereas the spotless starling is, well, take a guess. Spotless starlings are also slightly larger and louder than European. It's thought that the spotless starling actually evolved from the European starling during the Ice Age. So the spotless starling might not even be a species at all. Before we discuss the adaptations of European starlings, we must ask ourselves, what is an adaptation, as well as look at some other terms. An adaptation is any heritable characteristic that increases an organism's ability to survive. Another term is fitness. Fitness is used to describe how well an organism can survive and reproduce. The last term is natural selection, which is the process which selects organisms that have higher fitness due to being more suited to their environment. Now back to starlings. What adaptations do European starlings have, and how does it increase their fitness? European starlings live everywhere, but they also mostly live in forests. Let's start by looking at some physical adaptations. There are strong muscles near their beaks, which aid them in finding food. To survive. Their strong wings help them to fly at speeds faster than Usain Bolt. This, along with one of their social adaptations, the ability to flock, keeps their predation rate low. Starlings have an aggressive behavioral adaptation, which causes them to drive their competition, mostly native birds, away from their homes. The fifth adaptation, their warning call, is used to warn other starlings of a predator. This is both a behavioral and a social adaptation. So now that we've discussed some adaptations that starlings already have, it's time to take a look at what adaptations starlings could adapt that would make them more suited to their environment. Currently in the US, there is a fruit and seed shortage from native plants. This could cause starlings to turn aggressive towards each other. One adaptation that could occur from a food shortage is foraging. Foraging is where an animal eats more food than it needs to survive. This would make it easier for starlings to win fights against other starlings for food. The starling who got the seed would eat it and win, and then the cycle repeats until all starlings have foraging. But foraging wouldn't negatively impact a starling after a food shortage. So let's look at another adaptation that they would have gained through a food shortage and lost after. So now let's look at introversion. As I said before, starlings like to flock, but introversion would cause them to not like it. This would make it so that, for the most part, starlings would be on their own, apart from having mates. This would make it easier for predators to make a meal out of them, such as hawks and house cats.